All right, I'm the Flat Rate Master, and this video is if you're in school and have access to the tool truck student programs. Now, they call them various things depending on the company that they're associated with. I think Snap-on calls it SEP or whatever, but the gist of it is you get, high quality professional tools at a very discounted price. Now, one of the things they do a lot is limit what you can buy. And what I'm going to go over is various stuff that probably shouldn't buy, some stuff you should buy, and we're going to talk about the reasons why. Now, this video comes from one of my viewers. I'm mispronouncing it, but Joden Kirk, he gave me the proper way to say it in his email. Unfortunately, it is buried behind 1,000+ spam emails that I get all the time, and I've been gone for a considerable amount of time on vacation, and I haven't unburied it yet, and searching it for it has just come up with. Now, he offered to give me his login to look at the prices and all that stuff. Unfortunately, that is a violation of the terms and conditions of that program, and I don't want to get him locked out or banned or anything like that. I don't want to jeopardize his access to it. So I didn't take him up on that offer. I generally know what's in the program, what's not in the program. So let's get into it. Now, first and foremost, most people are going to be tempted by the toolboxes. Big discounts off of them. And they're professional-ish toolboxes. The problem is 9 times out of 10, they are not the premium. They're not masters. They're not epics. They're not Series 6 with Matco. They're their lower end toolboxes, meaning you're spending a lot of money for okay toolboxes. Now, advantages and disadvantages. 9 times out of 10, when you go to trade in one of those toolboxes on the tool truck, they will give you the full value of that toolbox as if you bought it off of their truck, what the retail price is. Now, keep in mind, it's like buying a car. It's, your trade-in value can change based on how much margin they have in the car they're selling you. It's just shifting money around. So if they give you full value of the toolbox you're trading in, chances are it's coming off the top of what they're making on that toolbox, meaning they're only going to be able to discount that toolbox so much. So on average, I would recommend not buying toolboxes. Do not buy them. Go to Harbor Freight, go to Husky, get a much more affordable option, or you can do the extreme toolboxes or that kind of stuff as well. Those are generally about the same quality as the lower end toolboxes. In some cases, less so in other cases, and I'm not going to get into that. I've done videos on toolboxes, but anyway, don't spend that money on the Snap-ons, the Matcos, the Macs. Go to Harbor Freight, get you one of their toolboxes. You don't have to have a super expensive toolbox to start out. You do not. Save the money and buy tools. Tools is what makes you money. That's the most important thing. Tools makes you money. Toolbox just keeps them safe, okay, and organized. It's one of the big things about bigger toolboxes. It's easier to organize. Now, however, they do usually have the premium service carts. Now, this is where I would seriously look at spending your money. One, a premium Matco or Snap-on service cart can be your only toolbox. It can literally fit the vast majority of tools you're going to need starting out as a technician. And discounted heavily makes it a great deal. Their lifespan is incredibly long. Repair parts are readily available. You can get them fixed if something breaks. That's where I would kind of spend your money if you're wanting to get tool storage off the tool truck program, is a high quality premium roll cart. That's honestly the best money you can spend. Harbor Freight has decent roll carts. The tool trucks are generally a little better than those and heavily discounted. They're not that expensive when they're heavily discounted. So look at those as an option and look at those as your only tool storage. Because starting out, you're not going to need a huge amount of tool storage. Normally I recommend a Harbor Freight 5-drawer cart and a basic Harbor Freight single or double bank toolbox. Well, if you have a roll cart that's capable of handling all of your tools, to give a simple example, my roll cart, 99% of the time when I'm repairing a vehicle, I pull that cart up and I do the repairs. I don't go to the toolboxes unless I need special tools. Weird stuff that the average tech is probably not going to have, or special tool for that particular job. Timing tool, stuff like that. So definitely that's a good option. Now let's talk some of the other tools. Ratchets. Ratchets are an incredibly personal tool. And I recommend get them in your hand, see how comfortable they are. And it's hard to do on a mail-in program. Let's be honest. So unless you can actually handle these ratchets, like for me, I prefer Matco's ratchets over Snap-on's ratchets over Mac, Cornwell. I don't recommend you buy ratchets like that. But they're not a bad deal if you buy them through the tool truck, as long as you think you're going to like the actual grips that you're getting. Wrenches, if you're going to go ultra premium, Snap-on still has really good wrenches, but Gear Wrench, Milwaukee, Carlisle, Wright Tools all make excellent, and Icon make excellent, close to quality wrenches. So while it's very tempting to buy wrenches, I'd probably spend that money in other ways. Impact sockets or sockets. First off, I don't recommend buying chrome sockets, period. Other than 1/4 inch and maybe a 3/8 set in case of clearance issues, depending on the sockets you buy in Impacts. I almost 100% use impact sockets in 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4 inch. Occasionally I have to do clearance issues and pull out a chrome socket for like 10 millimeter or maybe 12 millimeter occasionally. That's about it. Now I've got a mix of Snap-on, Matco sockets and impacts. They usually almost always fit. Now, as far as sockets go, I'd push you towards more affordable options like Sunex, Icon, Gear Wrench, a better deal as far as pricing. Snap-on stuff especially is getting really expensive, even discounted. It's still incredibly overpriced. So it's harder and harder to recommend the tool trucks on a lot of that stuff because it's just gotten so expensive. Screwdrivers. No, do not buy screwdrivers on the tool truck, period. Your flatheads are going to be used as pry bars. Unless you're working on very old stuff, you're not using a flat screwdriver for anything other than prying. Now, on the Phillips side of it, no, buy Vessel. They're JIS standard. They're excellent quality. They're all Japanese steel. They're very affordable and a much better deal. I should have a link to them in the description, so look for that. But screwdrivers, it's just a straight up no. Pry bars. Pry bars are nice because they're easy to warranty on the tool truck. But for instance, you can buy Mayhew or Icon. They're way cheaper. Mayhew makes Matco's pry bars, so they're identical other than the grips are different, but they're still Mayhew pry bar metal and the grips are made for them. So not recommended. Specialty sockets like Torx, I generally recommend Vim tools. They're much more affordable. They're great quality. Primarily what I use is Vim. So I wouldn't recommend that kind of stuff. Now, if you're planning to work on stuff that's internal Torx, i.e. e-Torx, I do have to recommend the Snap-on e-Torx sockets. They seem to be the best of anybody out there. including Vim. Electronic tools, and by that I mean impacts and ratchets. Don't recommend you buy those off the tool truck. I know it's tempting, but buy Milwaukee. Yeah, I'm sponsored by Milwaukee, but the reason I say that is battery systems. When it comes down to it, having multiple battery systems, let's say you have a snap-on ratchet and a Matco impact, and that gets really expensive when it comes to batteries, and increasing the toolage you have is because you have to buy a different charger and you have to buy the kit. If you buy Milwaukee, it's available at Home Depot if you need a battery or whatever. It's a much more economical way to get into electric tools. Now, on that note, I recommend you go mostly air tools starting out. Air impact, they're way cheaper than Milwaukee and anything like that. Just a better way to get into the business rather than spending $600 on a Milwaukee half-inch impact or whatever they cost. So anyway, unless you're dead set on something from the tool truck brands, don't go Milwaukee. Now, of course, the biggest thing is you gotta budget your money to get the most amount of tools that you're gonna need in the industry. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to buy a lot of tools, and you get into a shop and you realize the stuff you don't have. If you've already spent every bit of money you have buying stuff off the tool truck, you're going to find you don't have that much stuff. Whereas if you bought it through other sources and not the tool truck brands, you're going to get a much better toolkit for the dollar. Like, as in spending half as much and getting twice as many tools. And I'm not even exaggerating that fact. If you set a $5,000 budget for your tool inventory, if you go aftermarket on a lot of those stuff, not tool truck brands, you can probably get it for $2,500. Depending on what you're getting and that kind of stuff. But that's just an example. Much more efficient for your dollar to not buy through the tool truck program. It's just the way of the world. Tool truck, the discounts are nice, but the fact of the matter is, even discounted, they're still really, really expensive. Save your money, be smart with your tool budget, follow my advice. So hope you found this video helpful. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.